2022 was a turbulent yet pivotal year for the war in Ukraine. Russia experienced mixed results, securing key regions like Donetsk and Luhansk. However, the special military operation intended to secure Ukraine quickly devolved into a prolonged conflict, which persists even now in 2024. Ukrainian forces successfully repelled the main Russian invasion and launched effective counteroffensives. Notably, they recaptured Kherson and made significant gains in the Kharkiv region. The progress of the war in 2023 saw new strategies and results from both sides. The successful counteroffensive in Kharkiv led the Russian occupation administration to announce evacuations from several key towns. Despite Russian efforts to reinforce their positions, Ukrainian forces captured substantial areas, causing a collapse of Russian positions in northeastern Ukraine. Throughout September and October, Ukrainian forces continued their successful engagements. However, after these twin counteroffensives, the war transitioned into a stalemate as winter set in. From November into early 2023, the front lines saw reduced movement, but a surge in casualties. The Battle of Bakhmut, ongoing since August 2022, became the focal point. Russia's Wagner Group played a prominent role, enduring significant losses but capturing the strategic town of Soledar on January 16th. By February, Bakhmut was attacked from three sides, with only western supply routes remaining open. In early March, Ukrainian forces destroyed key bridges to hinder Russian movements and limit potential pathways westward out of Bakhmut. While this suggested a strategic withdrawal, Ukrainian commanders continued defending the city. By May 20th, Wagner leader Prigozhin declared Bakhmut under Wagner control, but revealed over 20,000 of his troops, including Russian convicts, had died fighting for the city. Heavy fighting also occurred in southern Zaporizhzhia and Donetsk oblasts, particularly near Vuhledar, which saw the largest tank battle of the war, resulting in disastrous losses for Russian forces. Cyber warfare played a crucial role in shaping intelligence, deception, and politics in the modern conflict. Outside Bakhmut, Russia's winter offensive in eastern Ukraine began on February 11th, aiming to capitalize on Ukraine's wariness from previous fighting. However, several months of engagements yielded limited gains, deemed a disappointment due to factors like a lack of trained personnel and supply issues. Ukraine, on the other hand, began preparations for a counteroffensive with the goal of breaking Russian morale. In early 2023, Ukraine received advanced military equipment from NATO allies and trained over 30,000 troops. Despite disagreements and delays, this planning period was crucial for Ukraine's major push against Russian forces. Ukraine's counteroffensive faced delays due to postponed weapon deliveries and adverse weather conditions. Early 2023's heavy rains made roads impassable for military equipment, delaying troop movements. Ukraine also needed natural cover for maneuvers, waiting for the environment to dry up and green. Despite US pressure to start in mid-April, Ukraine felt unprepared, needing more weapons and training. Tactically, the US favored a concentrated assault, while Ukraine opted for attacks on multiple fronts. In early June 2023, Ukraine launched its long-awaited counteroffensive, aiming to recapture territories and break the stalemate. The destruction of the Kakhovka Dam on June 6th, detected by regional seismometers and US spy satellites, sparked debate about responsibility. Ukrainian authorities suggested Russian forces were behind the explosion to hinder Ukraine's counteroffensive. Meanwhile, Wagner leader Prigozhin's dramatic drive toward Moscow in late June, citing grievances with Russian military leadership, ended abruptly. Prigozhin's death in a plane crash in August marked a pivotal moment for the Wagner Group. Later integrated into the Russian army, Ukrainian strategy focused on regaining ground in Donetsk and Zaporizhzhia regions. Ukrainian forces retook the village of Robotyne on August 28th and maintained control over strategic positions. They conducted successful operations near Bakhmut and recaptured several villages in the east and southeast. Despite well-entrenched Russian defenses, Ukrainian forces adapted by rotating units to maintain combat effectiveness. Ukrainian air strikes disrupted Russian control and logistics, including sinking a Russian ship in the port of Novorossiysk and attacking the Black Sea Fleet headquarters in Sevastopol. Russia intensified aerial assaults over areas like Kherson and Kyiv, targeting military and civilian infrastructure to degrade Ukrainian morale and operational capabilities. Ukrainian forces faced significant challenges from Russian Zala Lance drones, which damaged valuable Ukrainian assets. The conflict was further complicated by volunteer and paramilitary groups on both sides. Ukrainian forces benefited from groups like the Free Russian Legion and Russian Volunteer Corps, despite concerns about their ideological motivations. On the Russian side, neo-Nazi groups like Rusich and separatist forces in Donetsk and Luhansk supplemented their own forces. By mid-2023, the war reached a relative stalemate along a 600-mile front line. Ukrainian forces, bolstered by Western aid, defended key positions and countered Russian naval dominance in the Black Sea. However, a significant Ukrainian breakthrough was hindered by a lack of air superiority and challenging logistical conditions. Russia's tactics, including bolstering infantry firepower, drone reconnaissance, and defense in depth, made it difficult for Ukrainian forces to deploy effective countermeasures. By September, Russia had deployed over 420,000 troops in Ukraine and intensified missile strikes, significantly damaging Ukraine's energy infrastructure. In response, the U.S. announced plans to supply Ukraine with long-range ATACMS missiles. Ukrainian forces successfully launched another missile strike against the Black Sea Fleet headquarters in Sevastopol, killing several senior Russian military officials. October revealed growing discontent within Russian ranks, marked by increased mutinies due to substantial losses, inadequate supplies, and poor command structure. British intelligence reported some of the highest Russian casualty rates of the entire war. In October, Ukrainian Marines initiated a daring operation across the Dnipro River, inflicting significant casualties on Russian forces. Despite suffering heavy losses, Ukrainian forces continued their aggressive push. However, by December 1st, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky acknowledged that the counteroffensive had not met its goals, citing a lack of weapons and ground forces. He suggested that reclaiming the Crimean Peninsula might be more feasible than the heavily militarized Donbass region. By the end of 2023, international media concurred that Ukraine's counteroffensive, despite tactical successes, failed to reclaim significant territory or meet key objectives. The conflict entered 2024 with a new winter stalemate, while the battle to control Avdiivka continued.